Testing microphone. Testing microphone. Testing microphone. Testing microphone. Welcome everybody to Division 2 Spain on Mondays. And everything is ready. We are starting. So we have the first laps for qualifying set. Diego made a 120 while Bag of Donuts made 118. We have other people trying their laps. We're gonna try to stay with somebody who will have a full lap, and I think Robert might be one that will start setting a lap. We have some people going back to the pit. John is trying to set a lap, I think. So let's see how he ends. Spain, when it comes to broadcast camera, has kind of the worst of all the tracks, so we will try to find the right camera for you guys to enjoy the race. Meanwhile, John just hit the fastest lap at 117 in soft tires, and I think this might be the lap to beat. We also have Stobley. Last week, Stobley and John had a pretty good and intense battle until, unfortunate for both of them, they disconnected, and it was their AIs who finished the race. Stobley was first place, and John had to settle for second. Meanwhile, Bag of Donuts had a terrible race last week. Hopefully he can do something better this race in Spain. Let's talk a little bit about the track. I think Spain is one of the most challenging tracks because it's one of those that they seem to be easy, but there are a couple of corners that are tricky. And I think it has to be corner number 5 and then corner number 7. Like all the way from 5 to 7, you can lose the car very easy. Then we have a very complex hairpin in turn 10 right after the second DRS, which a lot of people will struggle or will lose a lot of lap time in corner number 10. Then corner 11 and 12, they are a bit complicated because if you go full throttle on them, the track will punish you and you will end in the gravel. Last but not least, we will have the chicane at corner 14 and 15 that will also be complicated for some drivers. So overall, I think it's a fairly straightforward track, but there are a couple of corners, more than a couple of corners, that will be a headache for some of the drivers. I'm hoping today that we will see more than one safety car, especially because in that first and second corner during the race, people will have some trouble giving space, so that might be a bit complicated. Other than that, I think the ideal scenario will be to start on mediums and then go to softs, but then we know in short qualifying you must have to do your fastest track with your best tire, and in most cases that will be a soft tire. Let's see how are we doing so far in the short qualifying. John in first place with a 117.4, almost more than a second ahead of Stobley, which means that this is a pretty good lap for John. Stobley, Bag of Donuts, they are pretty close together in second and third place. And we have Mick, Diego, Rock Giovanni, Larope, Robert Vega, David Hill, Max Stars, Rodriguez, Tum Tum, and Ernest. Only 13 drivers today. I think with luck 8 of them will finish the race. So let's see if we can stay with somebody who's just gonna start a lap and go through the entire qualifying lap. Okay, so we have here Ernest, who has invalidated track, invalidated lap, and he might start a new one. Let's stay with him. So yeah, that's corner 1 and 2, a bit complicated. Let's change cameras to enjoy what can be a qualifying lap, because he needs to set a lap. He hasn't set up time. So right now he goes fastest in the first sector. Pretty interesting. So maybe in the previous lap it was track limits who were hurting him. This corner, it's a bit tricky. You need to wait a bit to go full throttle. Then here, depending on the setup, you might need to also release the throttle. Then we have the second DRS zone. You have to brake pretty good and try to rotate in the right apex. And yeah, so far pretty good lap. I think he didn't do fastest second sector, but let's see how he finished this lap. Meanwhile, let me get a glass of water because this might be tricky. So he went second fastest. Sorry if I missed that. I'm just getting ready for the race, to be honest. And qualifying is tricky. Sometimes you don't know who's doing a lap who isn't. So let's try to see, this Diego. He might try to do a fast lap right now. Let's stay with him. He is in 8th right now. So hopefully he can do a little bit better in a new set of softs. Track limits in Spain are a bit complicated. Maybe not as complicated as last week in Portugal, but here there are a couple of areas right after certain corners that you need to be fully aware of the track limits. Here, I think a lot of people will struggle in this one, but so far he does pretty good. Here he takes the apex properly, stays on track. Now let's see if he brakes on the proper time. Yeah, a bit wide. I think it was a bit wide. He wasn't able to rotate as fully as he wanted to. Then he needs to back out. He needs to back out because Max and somebody else was blocking him. So I don't think this might be his fastest time, but let's see, let's wait. Let's see how he finishes. Yeah, he stays in 8th. He goes 3/10 of a second slower than a previous lap, and I think that had to do some of it had to do with the bit of traffic that he found on the lap. Let's see who else is starting a lap right now. So yeah, Robert Vega with a 120, he definitely will want to improve that. So let's stay with him. It seems that he's doing a fast lap. Also, something in Spain that happens is that if you take good one corner, then you can follow through pretty straightforward. But if you make a mistake in one corner, then the track will punish you for maybe 2 or 3 more corners, depending on the zone. And here, a little bit of complications driving, but all good. And stays on track. Good from John to get out of the way and allow Robert to continue his lap. Good exit here. Pretty good corner here. Now he's gonna go to the chicane. Let's see how he is able to do that. Here, in this small part of the track, you can lose a lot of your lap time. But I think it was pretty good. Let's see how he does. But I'm thinking it's gonna be a good one. Yeah, he goes fourth fastest, and I think it's a pretty good lap from Grover. Interesting that so far John is the fastest, and Ernest was able to set a pretty close lap. He's going with an out lap right now. Max is in the pits. Max, who in this league is a reserve driver, but we know how good he is in the pace and in the raw speed of these Formula 1 2021 cars. So let's see, and let's hope he has a better race than last week on Division 1. Then we have Bogdanovich, who's doing an out lap. I think he would like to improve that 118.7. Rock Giovanni with 8th place. Tom Diego Larop, who just abandoned the session. Who else we have here? David in pits and Rodriguez in pits. So let's see who is trying to go for a lap, and I think we might have somebody here. I think it's Ernest only. Yeah. Ernest, and then we have back O'Donnell, who is gonna start a lap right now. Let's stay with him. New set of tires, fresh tires, and let's see if he can improve that 118.7. I think that first corner was a bit too much, but let's see how he does the rest of the lap. Pretty solid in that sector of the track. He doesn't go fastest on the first sector, but let's see how he does the rest of the lap. Oof. I think that corner will be definitely tricky, especially on the race for some drivers. Bogdanovich already 3/10 fastest than his previous lap, and actually he goes fastest on the second sector, so this might be promising. Let's see how he does the final corners and that infamous Spain chicane. Very good exit there. Let's see how he can. Yeah, actually he goes fastest on the third sector, and that puts him on third place. So 117s for a few of our drivers. To be honest, I thought that John was the only one who would be able to crack 117, but it seems that we have some people doing pretty good, and let's see Max start if he can also do 117. Good pace. Meanwhile, Stoblik has retired from the session. I don't know if it was through an incident or he was just like, I'm happy to stay in this position, or at least with this qualifying pace. Meanwhile, Max, let's see how he takes this corner, which will be, I think, was it corner 5? Yeah, no, 7. Corner 7. Yeah, Stoblik crashed. We just saw him. So Stoblik crashed. Unlucky for him. Max goes fastest on the second sector. Let's see how he finishes the lap in the last few corners. So we have corner 13, then we have 14, 15, and the final corner 16. And Max goes, oh my, 116.7. amazing lap from Max, and it seems that we might have our first position here. Let's see who else is trying to set lap. Ernest, I don't think he's setting a lap, so I think Mick invalidated lap. So I think we're good. Everybody has set a lap, and we have our grid. Max in pole position, Ernest second place, amazing for Ernest, from Ernest. Then we have John, who I don't know if he also had an incident or not. Back of Donuts on fourth position. Robert Vega and Stubley will take the third row. Meanwhile, Mick will be with Rock Giovanni alongside these two drivers. Then we will have Tom Tom, Diego, Larov, David, and Rodriguez. Rodriguez, who, yeah, he didn't have the greatest qualifying. Almost 2 seconds below the pace of David, and like 4 seconds, almost 4 seconds difference from pole position. Either way, what matters is the race, and we know that in this league and in Division 2 a lot of things can happen because safety cars appear more often than on other leagues. That is said to do the setting that we have increased safety cars, which on one side kind of penalizes the people who are on top, but at the same time it gives opportunity for some of the drivers to recover positions. And with this case, what's Ernest doing? Just playing for fun. Come on, Ernest, you are the last one on track. We want to go to the race. Yeah, so as I was saying, increase safety cars, penalize the leaders, but also gives opportunity for people in the back to recover positions, and that is fun, more fun for these kind of leagues that are all about having a good time and race through the end of the race. Drivers are getting ready for this race. Meanwhile, let's take a look at the driver standings. Godfather, who is not racing today, he is in first position, which gives Ernest a pretty good opportunity to close the gap, which currently is 35 points. Stubley also has a 35-point gap from Godfather, so good opportunity today for both drivers to try to close the gap on the lead. David, I think, was disqualified from formation lap, so no worries, all good. And let's wait for everybody to be on the grid. and we will start this race. Oh, we need to set everything right. I like intervals, position change at the beginning, telemetry has to be enabled, lap track has to be enabled, and full track map. Camera pod. We can start with broadcast, and then when we stay with the pod. Everybody's getting ready. Max and Ernest will try to fight on the first straight, on the main straight. Places to overtake, we have not discussed them. We will discuss once the race settles a bit, but for now let's focus on the start and beginning of the race. We have the last cars going to their position. So we are just getting ready, and 5 lights, and the race has begun. Max, Star, and Ernest. I told you these our broadcast settings are not very good, but Max has a very good start. John goes second. Ernest had a poor start and loses 2 places, and Max just goes super fast and stays ahead of John, then back of Donuts. Somebody is having a problem, a Ferrari in the back. Might be Diego. Oof, what a crash. What a crash. And I think I thought it was Diego, but no, it was Ernest. Ernest just had a massive crash with Laroque, and we have the first safety car. I don't know if you were able to see that, but in the back of your broadcast, a Ferrari just went into the gravel, then tried to recover, and unfortunately DNF. Whew. Very, very sorry for Ernest, who had a pretty good chance. He was actually second, I think, or third, and now he is out of the race. Yeah, I think he was second, I think. Then we have John, who gained a position. Bag of Donuts also gained a position. Stubley gained 2. Mick gained 2, while Robert Vega lost 1. Very, very unfortunate for Ernest. We might be able to see that on one of the replays of this broadcast, but I think it was a very bad accident. Unfortunate for Ernest. Well, we have our first safety car. How many safety cars are we going to have in Spain? I'm guessing 3. Meanwhile, Diego needs to go into the pits. He has damage and he will need to change his front wing. Let's see if he changes tires. I'm guessing he will go to mediums. Let's see what happens. Yeah, he goes to mediums. He will start at the back of the pack. I think he had a problem with his teammates. And unfortunate for Ernest, he's out of the race, and Diego is at the back of the track, although he lost only 1 position. Meanwhile, everybody is just following the safety car. Hopefully the restart will last a bit more than a lap. So we were talking about what's the best place to overtake in Spain, and I think both DRS zones are pretty good. I think the main straight being so long gives people with DRS the opportunity to overtake, but if not, there are also a couple of corners that if you take them a bit aggressive, you might be able to win a position. For example, corner number 10, we might see some people dive bombing there just to win position, especially because they are coming out of the DRS zone. And also a corner between 6, 7, and 8, those 3 corners, we will have people struggling with the pace and trying to keep the car on track, and that might give people who have a good exit in corner 6 the opportunity, or even in corner 7, the opportunity to overtake on the corner 8 and 9. Other than that, I think it's pretty straightforward. I think if you want to overtake on the main straight, you need to have a very good corner 14 and 15, because as I said in qualifying, that chicane will be complicated for some of our drivers and will make them lose some pace. We're staying in the safety car, looking at the positions. Nothing has changed. Hopefully the restart can be a clean restart. I think we were aware that we were gonna have a safety car pretty soon. Meanwhile, I'm just looking at some progress, and I need to take a phone call. Sorry about that. Yeah, that was a spam call, as usual with these phone calls. But good to know it was during a safety car, so we are not losing any action. Safety car in this lap. Finally, we are gonna have some racing. Let's go. Let's see how Max controls the pace. He's trying just to give some space to the safety car so the safety car can go into the pits and Max can start controlling the pace of the rest of the grid. I think we're gonna stay with John, because John will try to, go and attack Max, because I think this is the moment for John. I don't know how his tires are, but if he has the tires in the right window, oof, that was pretty close. Unfortunately, there we go. There they go. And John is gonna pursue Max, and they are pretty close. It was a good exit from Max, but a very good exit from John. And the restart is pretty good, and John is gonna try to make the move here, and whew, I think Max stays ahead, but not by much. And then John decides to concede the position, so he will not risk contact. But pretty good, pretty aggressive from John, but in a good way. And Max defending, so pretty good battle we had there. And I think if this keeps going this way, we will have a pretty interesting battle between Max and John. Surprised that Max didn't build a gap in the restart, but I think it's props to John, because he followed Max pretty good on that chicane. And yeah, he had a chance and he tried to take it. Meanwhile, let's see what's happening on other parts of the track. We see that Bag of Donuts is in third, comfortable. Then we have Stubbly at some point will attack Bag of Donuts. But right now I think the track is getting a bit dispersed. We have Robert trying to make a move or trying to get close to Mick, and I think Robert will try to make a move at some point in this lap, maybe in the second DRS zone, on the second straight, because right now we don't have DRS. But also in this track, if you stay pretty close to somebody, they will make a mistake, or they might make a mistake, and you will be able to capitalize on their mistake. Meanwhile, Ian Rodriguez, he is at the back of the pack. So we have a pretty clear track right now. Nobody's closing on anybody, and I think it will stay like this until we have DRS enabled. Then we will start to see some action. For now, everybody's staying the way they are. Max is trying to build a second gap, so he can stay out of John's DRS. Max for now takes the fastest lap. We know that we will see better times by the end of the race, but for now this is pretty good. John has the first 3-second penalty, and yeah, in the previous lap I saw John like taking a lot of track, and I was kind of that might be a bit too much, and it was, and now he has 3-second penalty. So what's happening? John gets out of the track into the grass, and these are the kinds of mistakes that people can make, like unforced errors. And for example, right now Back of Donuts has a pretty good opportunity to stay close, although now he also has a 3-second time penalty. So I think Back of Donuts will try to do something versus John, probably in the main straight. Let's see if he's able to stay close to John in that last chicane. Meanwhile, the great winner from all of this is Max, who is now 2.4 seconds ahead of the rest of the teams of the pack. And let's see, Back of Donuts getting pretty close to John, but not on this straight. Ooh, Back of Donuts, he just spun, and he will try to recover from this. Very, very bad from him. Again, this circuit penalizes you a lot, and we will see more than one spin. Unfortunately, the first one that we see on camera is Back of Donuts, and he goes back to 7th place. So John says thank you for that, because Back was getting pretty close. And now Stubbly has a chance to go after John. As I said last week, John and Stubbly had a pretty epic battle. At the end, it was their AIs who had the battle, but still was a good battle for the first positions on the race. Meanwhile, Max, I think he's just getting ready for a lonely race, which is good. Oh, he goes into pits. He goes into pits in lap number 7. So maybe he saw the gap, and he thinks that maybe he goes on mediums. I don't think he will take hards. Yeah, mediums. He goes into mediums, and yeah, probably a good strategy for him to just make sure that nobody tries to undercut him. And just a funny note is that Max is driving without a helmet. Oof, pretty close encounter there with Diego, but Diego stays out of the way, and Max now has fresh tires and will try to build a longer gap now with everybody struggling. We have a yellow flag somewhere. We have a Red Bull, I think it's David. David spun in the same place as Back of Donuts, I think. Yeah, might be the same corner, or at least close to that corner. And Diego will need to recover. Sorry, David will need to recover from this. Let's see who else is having a problem. Meanwhile, John. Let's see if John goes to the pits here or waits a couple of laps. Same for Stubbly. Yeah, they are staying on track. And let's see if Stubbly has a chance to go after John in this lap. Meanwhile, Mick goes to the pits, and here Stubbly, after a pretty interesting battle, tries to stay ahead. No, John is ahead. Stubbly is ahead, and we might have some yellow flag somewhere. I think Robert or Rodriguez are having a problem with their car. We are unable to see right now at the moment, because the battle between Stubbly and John is pretty solid and pretty good. Stubbly trying to use some of his ERS to gain a bit more momentum. but they are pretty close. So let's see how we can experience the battle between John and Stubbly. They stay pretty close, but John doesn't make a move here, so I'm guessing he's gonna wait for the main straight to return the favor and try to stay ahead of Stubbly. Six-tenths of a second might not be enough, but we will see. DRS open, ERS enabled, and John is trying to hunt Stubbly, and no, he backs out. He realized he wasn't close. Oh, oof! Again, having some problem with the oversteer there, and John needs to wait a little bit. And I think now it's time for John to go into the pits after this very unfortunate situation. It seems that we have a car that is not longer with us. I think David is a ghost now. Yeah. So David might be out of the race and his AI might be controlling the race. Meanwhile, let's see if everybody is still on the race. It seems that way. Mick and Diego, let's stay with him for a while because it seems that they might be having some fun. Mick, DRS open, ERS enabled. And what happened there? I'm not sure what Diego did, but weird. Meanwhile, David, who was like the AI of David, had a problem, DNF, and now we have another full safety car, which gives Max a pretty good opportunity to recover some positions. Stubbly also has a pretty, like, Stubbly and John, they both have a cheap pit stop, but let's see how close they stay. I think Max will stay ahead of them, even with this 14-second gap. Meanwhile, Back of Donuts and Robert are going into the pits. Back of Donuts with a set of hard tires, I believe. And Robert with also a set of hard tires. Yeah, they both have hard tires. Let's see how does that work for them. Stubbly and John, both of them into the pits. Meanwhile, Max is finishing his lap, and he will stay ahead of them and recover first position. There goes Max. And behind him, I think we will still have Stubbly and John. Yep, there they are. So, very close in the lap, in the tire age for all of them. Diego is having a 9 lap tire, so that might hurt him in a while. But for now, he is in 5th position. Rock Giovanni, we haven't seen much of him today. Let's see if he can also go and take up some positions. Then we have Tonton and Back of Donuts and Robert Vega, both in hard tires, which I'm guessing they want to finish the race in this tire. And even if there's a safety car, they will just try to stay with this tire. Let's see how that works for them. Both are in the Haas team. I don't know if they are communicating between each other. and maybe there's a strategy that as a team they are trying to pull off. If not, still an interesting strategy on a personal level for both drivers. So we lost David, Ernest, and Laro. Let's, for now, again, as I said, I think we might have another safety car at the end of the race, but we never know. We never know. Penalties, I think we can see that John and Bag of Donuts, they have 3 seconds each. For now, those are the only ones with penalties. But again, this track is very hard in track limits, so we might see more drivers getting that 3-second penalty at some point during the race. We have Diego, Giovanni, Tom, Bag, Donuts, Robert, and Rodriguez. So we are staying another lap out in the safety car, which will give Robert and Rodriguez some time to get back and stay close to the rest of the drivers. So a small correction, for a second I thought that Bag of Donuts and Robert were in the same team, in the Haas team, but no, it's Robert and Rodriguez who are in the same team. So definitely this decision of going to Hearts is like an individual decision between Bag of Donuts and Robert Vega. My apologies for the mistake, but it seems that, yeah, nothing to worry about at the moment. I still don't know if hard tires are the right bet with 23 laps left, but you know, Spain is one of those tracks where tire degradation is a bit faster than on other tracks, so they might be taking that into consideration. Safety car in this lap, safety car in this lap. Let's see how Max does the restart. And we're gonna try to stay with John or Stubley for the restart. Let's hope nobody touches nobody during the safety car restart or before the restart. Otherwise, some people might have to see the pits. So Max just goes for it. Let's see. Pretty solid restart from Max, and Stubley and John are pretty close to each other. Let's see what happens here. They are pretty close. They take the first corner almost wheel to wheel, and Stubley goes second place, but no, John might try to recover the position, and they are pretty close. Max is unable to go further, and John and Stubley, they are having a pretty interesting fight. Stubley is able to take the inside of that corner, and he also is going to take the inside here, but now John, what a race, what a battle we had at the end. I think John was a bit more aggressive and Stubley conceded the defeat on this time. But definitely he will have another opportunity and another chance to tackle John. Meanwhile, Max gets his first 3-second penalty. So it will be interesting to see if all the drivers stay in a 3-second penalty. With time penalties, it's good that you hope for a safety car, especially at the end of the race, because then people with penalties, they need to build the gap, and sometimes that might work on their advantage. Stubley having some trouble, but stays on track, but loses some time to John. And Mick getting close or trying to get close to Stubley. I don't see that happening for now, but let's see Meanwhile, Tum and Ing Rodriguez, they are having a battle for the last place. Let's go with John because John is getting pretty close to Max. And I think we have yellow flag where? So Robert Vega just DNF. Robert Vega, unfortunate for him, he just DNF. We were able to see, yeah, we can see there Robert Vega with a problem. I don't think that will be enough for a safety car, but let's see. Meanwhile, John is gonna try to go after Max. I don't think it will happen in this lap. I don't know if they have DRS just yet. No, DRS is enabled on this lap. So he will have DRS, but on the next DRS zone, not on this one. So for now, he's just staying close. Meanwhile, back of Donuts is having a small battle with Diego, but Diego concedes the position. And back of Donuts says thank you very much on those hard tires. So let's stay with John, because I think he has a chance to attack Max, especially on that main straight. But he also will have DRS zone in that second straight. .7 of a second, I don't think that will be enough, but for now he will just try to stay as close as possible to Max and attack him on the main straight. It looks like Max was having some problems staying on track, but that might be just broadcast visuals, nothing more than that. Oof, pretty good exit from John, and let's see if he's able to go for it. DRS open, ERS enabled. Max is not putting ERS, so he's not trying to defend. Oof, oof. That late move from Max was enough to confuse John. I don't know if that was like a weaving or a second defensive move from Max. It definitely scared John, who decided to back out and leave for another lap or another battle. It will be pretty interesting to see that defense again from Max, just to see how much on the limit that was. Right, Stoddley getting close to them after that small issue, and now we have a small DRS train. John just trying to stay pretty close to Max, and definitely after what happened last lap, John will want to have another shot, another opportunity. Meanwhile, we have maybe TomTom has some problems, but we need to stay with the leaders from now. TomTom was able to recover his car, so he is still on the race. Let's stay again with John. ERS open, DRS enabled, and now he's gonna make the move. And Max doesn't put a lot of problem to John and lets him go by. So maybe, Max is aware that what happened on the last lap was a bit too aggressive, and he decides, you know what, I'm not even gonna put ERS, I'm just gonna allow John to take the position here, and I might be able to recover on one of the next laps. And we need to stay with them because Max has a pretty good raw pace, so I'm pretty sure he will have another shot. DRS open right now. Just staying close to John. So far, all of them have 3-second penalties. We will confirm that in a second. For now, let's see how they are able to go into the main straight. But this battle for first position, it's a pretty interesting battle between John and Max. And it seems that in John, the league found somebody who can, match Max in raw pace. Max is gonna take the outside, but John, pretty good defensive positioning of his car, and Max is unable on this occasion. But still, Max is not using his ERS, while John has used probably all of it, and he will need to recharge pretty soon. Stubbly just staying behind both of them, just waiting for a mistake or an incident on both drivers, and he will take the pieces. So pretty good from him. Pretty good. In this DRS zone we have a small train and no major changes. Meanwhile, we have a yellow flag. Somebody had an incident. Back of Donald just DNF. We were unable to see what happened to him. But another unfortunate race for Back of Donald. Second DNF in a row. That's not good for him. Unfortunate, very unfortunate for Back of Donuts. And another safety car. So I predicted 3 safety cars and we have 3 right now. Are we gonna have maybe a 4th? I hope not, but we never know on Spain. What's gonna happen with the leaders? Max, is he gonna pit or not? I think John and Stubbly, they still have pretty solid tires with 7 laps. Mick goes to hard tires. Maybe he was on mediums all the time. If not, maybe mediums was the right call. But unless he had to change tires to something else than mediums, then this makes sense to be on hard. Diego also goes to the pits. I'm guessing Tuntum and Rodriguez will also go to the pits, which means that it will be interesting to see what John does. I'm guessing Max is going to the pits, but I don't know. Rock Giovanni just had another drive-through penalty, speeding under safety car. Unfortunate for him. And I think that means his race is over. He's gonna be the one hoping for a 4th safety car if he wants to gain more positions. Let's see what John does in this lap. Yeah, John goes to the pits, which means that Max is going to the pits and Stoll is going to the pits, and Rock Giovanni, well, he is far ahead from the leaders and also with a drive-through penalty, so we can easily say that the race and the winner of this race is between these 3 drivers. John goes to soft, Stubbly goes to soft, but Max goes to medium. Very interesting choice from Max. I think soft tire was enough for the remaining of this race, but Max wants to have the certainty that the tires will last until the end of the race. Meanwhile, Rock Giovanni was able to set second position, but again with the drive-through penalty, with 11 laps on those set of mediums, I think he's just gonna, stay in second place for a very short time. What we see is that Max and Stubbly are gonna have some trouble trying to get ahead of Rock Giovanni. So it'll be interesting to see if Rock Giovanni just gets out of the way or he tries to defend the position. I mean, at the end of the day, if you are in second place by just, reasons, and just because the safety car put you in that position, it's still fun to defend, which will allow John to just build a gap from Max and Stubbly. So from this formation, I think the biggest winner can be John. It will depend a lot on what Rock Giovanni does. I don't know if Rock Giovanni will pit now and get out of the way. I mean, if your race is over, just go for it and just, go to pits and let the people up front do whatever they have to do. But let's see what Rock Giovanni does. If he stays on track, the biggest winner will be John. And he does, he stays on track. So John will use Rock Giovanni as an unfortunate teammate, and Max will have some work to do. Stubbly, who also has 0, that puts him in a very interesting position. Let's go and see penalties. What? John has 11-second penalty? From when? I was completely unaware of that one. Sorry, I was unaware of that 11-second penalty from John. Wow, that was pretty bad. When did that happen? I don't remember. I was not paying attention. Sorry for that. But a lot of things happen at the same time on the track, and you are. It's impossible to keep track of everything. Wow, John, 11-second. I was not expecting that. Pretty bad from him. For now, let's stay with. You know what? For now, let's stay with the tires just to make sure that we are not missing anything. Yeah, everybody is in new tires except from Rock Giovanni and Rodriguez. Safety car still? Do we have safety car in this lap? I think we will have safety car in this lap. And because of that, we just need to go to the penalties because, yeah, safety car on this lap. Rock Giovanni, he will need to restart the race. Maybe he will be, the defensive player that John needs, and it will be interesting to see how Max gets ahead of Rock Giovanni and also Stubbly. John, with that 11-second penalty that I was completely unaware of, it's maybe he was speeding on the pit lane, maybe, I don't know. Okay, Rock Giovanni goes to the pits now, and I think he will not be able to finish drive-through or to do his drive-through right now. I could be wrong. And now he has a 5-second penalty. Meanwhile, Stubbly and Max are fighting, and Stubbly gets ahead of Max. Sorry, we missed that. And it was a pretty good restart from Max because we were paying attention of what Rock Giovanni was doing. We missed the restart. Apologies for that. So we have John in first place but with 11-second penalty. That's not good. Then we have Stubbly and Max with a 3-second penalty. Meanwhile, Nick in fourth place. And yeah, so Rock Giovanni was unable to do the drive-through that time. So yeah, we can say his race is fully over and completely destroyed. It will be interesting to see what happens with that 11-second penalty from John. I don't know if he will make a ticket to get them removed or it was like a proper penalty. But for now, he has 11 seconds, so I don't think first place is in his window of opportunities. Which means that Stubbly and Max, they will be fighting for first position, and Max with that 3-second penalty might be a bit complicated for him. Which means Stubbly can be the biggest winner of the race. So we have 8 drivers in track. We have lost Bag of Donuts, Robert Vega, David Hill, Ernest, and Lalo. I think Stubbly is one that will be using this race to close the gap to Godfather, who is in first place in the championship leader, which might be good for him to have some competition on the top. Max staying close to Stubbly. The problem with Max is that he needs to overtake Stubbly and then create a 3-second gap, and I don't see that happening unless Stubbly makes a mistake and spins or something, especially because Max is on medium tires, which was like a weird decision unless I'm missing something. And while Stubbly goes fastest overall, and staying close enough to John. Meanwhile, Diego is gonna make a move on TomTom, and he stays behind, and maybe he will try something in the second DRS zone. Yeah, it seems that Diego might not have the pace that he wants to overtake TomTom, and now he's 1 second behind. He still gets DRS, so he might be able to get close to TomTom, but not enough to overtake him. Let's see that everybody is still racing. We don't have any ghosts yet, and yeah, John having a pretty solid stint. Stobly and Max as well. TomTom, 3-second penalty, multiple warnings. And let's see Diego if he's able to do something here. Might not be enough. He might need more straight to do that. But let's see if maybe there's a dive bomb or something. No. Oof. He stays on track. Everything is... No, he doesn't stay on track. He has some problems. Yeah, I saw something weird on the first corner. Maybe he lost the car for a second, and now he rejoins, and it seems that everything is good. I'm not able to see if there's some damage on the wing. He might have some damage on the wing, and if so, that might be very unfortunate. Yeah, I think he has some damage on the wing. Meanwhile, nothing has changed on the leaders. John, Stobly and Max staying pretty close to each other, and with those penalties it seems that it's unnecessary to attack each other. Mick, TomTom, Diego, now they are pretty separated from each other, so it seems that we have just a calm race for now, unless somebody makes a mistake. We have 7 laps left. There's still a chance for a safety car, which might make things more interesting, but will be terrible for John with that 11-second penalty. Somebody's into the pits. Oh, well, Diego, he just DNF. And because he DNF on the pits, I think we will not see a safety car. That was sorry, Diego, but that was very funny to see how the car DNF. Whew, 7 drivers left on track. I don't think for now we will see another safety car, which means that if everything stays as is, Stobly, because of the penalties from John, he will be the winner on this race. Max is trying to stay close, but not enough to be on the DRS. Meanwhile, Ing Rodriguez and Rock Giovanni, they have like small overtake. Nothing to worry about, they are still both on track. TomTom goes to the pits. Maybe he has some damage. I don't think it's because he tries to go for a faster lap, but yeah, he should go for soft and, you know, try to have fun for the rest of the race. Max and Stobly, they are still 1 second and more behind each other. Stobly from John and Max from Stobly. No major changes. Mick having a very a lone race for now. TomTom getting from the pits. Rodriguez now has a 3-second penalty. TomTom with softs. Yeah, I don't think anything will change. Max is getting close to Stobly. Will that be enough to just overtake on the track? And maybe Stobly, you know, he might get a 3-second penalty in the last laps, and that might make things interesting. We don't know. Max staying pretty close, and I think with that 11-second penalty from John, yeah, he will go to 3rd place. Still ahead of Mick, but below Stobly and Max. John just controlling his pace, controlling his car. I mean, on track, he will be the fastest of all the drivers, but those penalties will hurt him. Stobly just, again, cruising, and I don't see Max having a shot at Stobly unless Stobly makes a mistake. But Stobly has been pretty good in the last few races, that I think we will not see any change on our podium. Yeah, so Stobly will be able to get 2nd place in the championship. Godfather will still be at the top of the table, but the gap will be definitely close. Maybe we will have a 10-point gap, which is good for the championship. Definitely good. Then I think Ernest is the one who, I'm not gonna say the biggest loser of the race, but definitely someone who was with a good opportunity to also close the gap from Godfather, but with this DNF, he will now be in 3rd place on the championship. So unfortunate, and also, you know, he will have missed this opportunity to close the gap today where Godfather was not playing. Max trying to get into the DRS zone. I don't think he has DRS right now. Yeah, he doesn't. So everything stays as is. Yeah, not a lot of changes in this case. It will be interesting to see if John puts a ticket or something. Again, we don't know what happened on that 11-second penalty, because they are 11 seconds, I'm guessing, track limit twice, like 2 penalties for that, and then a 5-second penalty maybe during a safety car, or because he was speeding on the pit lane. That can be the only combo I can think of right now. Max just, you know, staying close to Stobly, but he's not trying anything, unable to try anything really. And yeah, as I said a few laps ago, I think nothing is gonna change in these last 3 laps. Who will get points that are interesting for the lead? Rock Giovanni will get some points, which I think will put him close to John in the drivers' championship. John obviously will get his points, and he might overtake Robert Vega in 9th place. Meanwhile, Bag of Donuts with that DNF. AEGC, he is not on today's race, and Easy Rider also not in this race. Mick also will get some points, which will be good for his team. Alpha Tauri. Max trying to have at least one opportunity for DRS, but no. Same for Stubbly. They are just trying to get a chance at DRS on track. Meanwhile, everybody is overtaking Rodriguez, a back marker. And it seems that we might see a bit of DRS right now, but nothing will change. And I think nothing has changed because there's no reason really for an overtake right now with Stubbly having no penalties. Yeah, everybody stays just in a regular train. And this is the last lap. I think the last laps were not very exciting, definitely, has to be said. But, you know, sometimes not exciting is what the leaders want, because they have put the work on previous laps and now they deserve the podium and they are going for the podium. Final DRS zone. Are they gonna try anything at all? The answer is no, which makes sense. Again, penalties and all, the podium has been decided 5 or 6 laps ago. Literally on the restart on the last safety car, everything was decided. Max getting pretty close to Stubbly, but just for the end of the race, John will take the checker flag and he will be the winner of Division 2 in Spain. Positions are Stubbly first place for the penalties from John, but on track John won. But again, after the penalties, Stubbly takes the first place, then Max takes second place, Max being a reserve driver. Meanwhile, John will be taking third place and pretty solid chunk of points in the championship. Mick, fourth place. He also gets some points on the championship. TomTom, well, he gets his first points, which is good. Congratulations on that, TomTom. Rock Giovanni also gets some points, and Rodriguez, just because he finished, he was in fourth with 4 points, so now he will get a couple of more, and you know, good for him. And we saw the disadvantage pace-wise that he had on qualifying, so staying alive, staying on track, not DNFing, gives you some points. Congratulations to our podium. I think was a pretty solid podium. Unfortunate for John on those 11-second penalties, but that's racing. And congratulations to everybody. Thank you for joining. GG. Goodbye.